Okay, hello. Happy, what the hell's today? Thursday. Happy Thursday. Another week where I tell you how excited I am for today's lesson. And I know I feel like I recently, within the last few months or so, did something similar to this, but I focused more, instead of, well, today's topic is morning and evening routines. And I know I've done one recently that focuses more on the practical, like actual plotting. Today, I want to focus more on kind of the mindset side of things, the conceptual side, I should say, because all of us here, and I apologize, I don't know why, my heart is like pounding today for some reason. So I'm like perpetually out of breath. I don't know, for some reason, the kid, but if I'm breathing like James Gandolfini, that's why. Just put that out there. Uh, but today, I want to talk more about the concept side of it, where how can we put ourselves in the best position for success? Because especially those of us who are neurodivergent, it's not like we've never tried to have routine. It's not like a foreign concept that we crave routine. We want routine and consistency. But I think that for us, there's multiple levels to it, right? You're not just going to hear something you have to do and boop, there you go. You just do it. I mean, life would be a dream if that was the case, if we could just be told something and put it into action, right? So if you guys know from working with me by now, you know that I look at things a multiple layered approach. And for us, I think it's a lot more about the concept of why we're setting things up the way that we are. Once we understand that, we can figure out how to baby step it in the direction we want. So that's what I'm looking to do today. It's not going to be so much focused on like the actual, here are the steps to do, because I have that recording. I can comment it after this Zoom. This is going to be more about like, here's how you mentally set yourself up. Okay. So, and Becca in the chat said, I feel like my routine is chaos. Yep. Sounds about right. And then just said, my chaos is routine. Bless you, in case anyone heard or didn't hear Nick sneeze with the weird sound that goes on with the like sound controls on Zoom. Um, by the way, I don't know if that's like a setting I have to put on or something. I told my mom about it, who's on Zoom all the time, and she was super excited that it's noise canceling until someone on one of her meetings said they could full on hear what was going on in the background. And I was like, oh, maybe that's just some setting I have I don't know, but whatever. Bless you, Nick. Let's carry on. So, when it comes to routines, the thing to remember about morning and evening routines is that the morning sets up the night, and then the night sets up the next day. The stuff that's happening in between, it's going to be as demanding or as crazy, as stressful, as negative or positive as it's going to be. But where you can get the control here is how you're setting up the bookends of that day. Now, next week, we're going to do a revisit on Eat the Frog, which is my favorite method for planning out your day. So that's, how we take care of the middle part. But you have a lot better chance of success in that middle part if you're bookending your day, setting yourself up in the morning and at night. Again, not that I expect this to be a groundbreaking concept for anybody, but we'll get into it. We want to look at two things. You want to look at mentality setting, setting up your mentality for the day and for the night. And you also want to look at organizing best actions. So none of this, like, so out of breath. This is crazy. It's been all day. I apologize. But I think mentality wise, what do you guys feel like? When's the first time you really think about how you want to feel that day? Is that ever something that you think about? Tell me in the chat. Do you ever tell yourself, like, here's how I want to feel? Or here's how I wish I felt? It's not really something, at least for me, it's not really something I ever used to do. Because I would just kind of take the day as it came and take the night as the day, like finally the day is over. Close that chapter. And then when I wake up, whatever's in front of me, okay, let's get through it. And I kind of just was more of a like bystander in how my day was going. You might be thinking, when you have set routine, how the hell do you do anything but be a bystander in how your day is going to go, right? You have X, Y, and Z you're used to doing. Let's see what you're saying in the chat. Instead of how I want to feel, it's more of a focus on how I feel in that moment, good or bad, when I wake up, right? But that kind of leaves it up to chance. You know, like, is today going to be a good day or is today going to be a bad day? I want to feel calm and at ease, but children and rushing out the door does not feel like that. Well, I think a lot of that comes in the reprogramming of what feeling calm and at ease is. Because if you're like, I want my mornings to be a Zen space where everyone is quiet and we meditate, we eat a long breakfast, like, yeah, good luck with that. That's going to be setting yourself up for disappointment. But you want to look at it as like, what's calm within the craziness? You know, there's a certain level of what has to be crazy no matter what. And there's a certain level of the chaos that we have within that. And that's what you want to start to focus on, is like, what can I change about how I respond to this, or how I feel about this, how I perceive this? Because there's always going to be stuff that we can't change logistically. Especially with my clients who have kids in the morning, shit's crazy. Like, it's just a logistics thing, getting everywhere to where they got to be and dealing with kids' moods and things like that. So there's always going to be a certain level of like, we got to roll with that. But trying to find the calmness within that we can be like, here's what I want to focus on for tomorrow. That's the key. So what you want to do is you want to try and set, rather than waiting for the morning, you're going to do this twofold. Before you go to bed, I want you guys to think for the next day, what do I want to like embody tomorrow? What do I want to focus on? What's a good, maybe you look up mantras that you can have, but like, have that and be like, tomorrow, this is the focus. Something to think about is it to be patient with yourself tomorrow. Were you an asshole to yourself today and you're like, tomorrow I'm not going to be my own worst hater? Do you want to stick to your own boundaries? Did you overextend yourself today, overexert yourself, not answer someone true to, how you authentically felt? Did you do something that you regretted, worked a little longer than you would have wanted to, or picked up some slack, or took some extra shit, whatever that is? Well, tomorrow, do you want to stick to your own boundaries? Is that a focus you want to have? You can use the data from the day as a focus for the next day. Do you want to enjoy rest and not let yourself feel guilty about needing a recharge or taking it easy tomorrow? If you remember my thermostat thermometer example, that's another good Zoom I would rewatch or re-listen to. But are you the thermostat, so you set the temp of the room? Or are you the thermometer, where you go up and down with the room? Well, maybe tomorrow you want to focus on being more of the thermostat and not letting the people around you adjust your temperature. Every day, basically, there's going to be a different obstacle ahead, or a different. If you stop thinking about how you're doing everything wrong, you start thinking about, what can I think about in a better light tomorrow? Mindset is everything, and now none of this is to negate the very real, awful things that happen. Like, I don't want anyone thinking that I'm completely dismissing, like, most of us got trauma in here, first of all. So I'm not saying that this is easy peasy, right? Like, I'm going to say it on a Zoom and everybody's going to have a wonderful day tomorrow. That would be great, I hope. But if we start thinking about it as we have a more of a participation role in our day, and you start thinking about it as, well, if something went wrong today, what can I pull from that to focus on and hone in on and improve upon tomorrow? You gotta be around, not to be morbid or anything. We're all gonna be around unless you get hit by a bus or something. We're all gonna be around, God willing, tomorrow anyway. You might as well go into it with some kind of a lesson from the day prior, or some kind of focus that makes you like, let me try to improve upon this. The day's got to pass anyway. Tell me what you think about this so far. What would be, let's do it, let's do an example together. Tell me in the chat. What would be something that you would take from today? What do you want to make better for tomorrow as a personal mindset goal for yourself? Like mentality wise, what could be a good focus for you tomorrow? Tell me in the chat. To say something nice to myself when I wake up and or before I go to bed. Well, that's awesome, but what's the reason for that? Ultimately, you would want to say something nice to yourself to feel what or to do what as a result? The reason why you want to say something nice to yourself could be your focus for the day. You know, like if I want to, I want to be more, I just want to be kinder to myself. Well, the good news is you don't have to just do that in the morning and at night. You know, you can be kinder to yourself all day through. To start my day on a positive note. Well, that helps, but remember, you want to think about a focus for the day. So that could be a good way to accomplish your, like, one of the things to accomplish that focus of the day. But ultimately, how do you want to feel about yourself and then the day ahead? And if that's positive, you want to have a positive outlook on the day, then starting your day with something positive could help towards that. But it's important to remember throughout the day, like, I'm going to try and think of myself in a positive light today. Everything's easier when you think about it as I'm only going to do this for a day. It ends up sticking longer than a day. But that's the science behind it, is anyone could do anything for a day. And then hell, you might see and surprise yourself and be like, that was pretty great. Jess said, tomorrow I want to feel confident. I have a wedding to attend. Yeah. You want to feel more confident tomorrow. You know, to do that, I would think to yourself, you know, what are some ways that I could feel more confident? Or for this, I have a good one too. It's a little bit of fake it till you make it. If you tell yourself, like, I'm going to pretend I'm someone who's confident tomorrow. I know it sounds delusional and weird, but then what happens? I did a whole Zoom on this as well. Hold on. Spit, wrong pipe. Happens all the time. But I did a Zoom on this. It's like, you want to fake it till you make it with this, right? Because if you're pretending you're a confident person, it takes hold. You know, people are attracted to that. You know, you notice that you start having a great time. And before you know it, it's like, why wouldn't you just act and go on this way? And it becomes easier to implement. So the goal is you think about tomorrow, how do you want to feel? That's the first step. Then tomorrow when you wake up, going back to what Lisa was saying too, you want to reiterate the point of the day, like the focus of the day that you came up with last night. Right? So let's just say, sorry, I'm going to use an example. Let's just say that I want to be more patient with myself. That's the goal that I set up for the next day. Tomorrow, I want to be more patient with myself. So I set that intention, right? The next morning when I wake up, I say to myself, okay, today I'm going to be more patient with myself. You want to reconfirm it when you wake up. Because how many times do we think about a ton of stuff at night before we go to bed, and then in the morning it's gone to the ether? You know, we're off to the races with our day and everything else that we're focusing on. So you want to kind of sandwich that and reconfirm it in the morning. Be like, okay, today I'm going to be more patient with myself. And think about how you might go about doing that. Throughout the day, think back to it. I'm being more patient with myself today. I can definitely use that advice as well, because I am being out of breath all day has been such a pain in the ass. And, you know, and I'm like, what's wrong with my brain? Like, why can't I just think? And I had to be like, okay, you're not on your meds. You're pregnant. You're chasing blood sugars all day long. You're, you know, running a business that's clients literally all over the world. You know, like maybe you just need to be a little patient with yourself. And I'll have to have that dialogue with myself throughout the day. And it's okay to do that. Some days I have to make that my focus. Like that's definitely something I'm taking with me into tomorrow, especially getting ready for the retreat. You know, back in the day, the San Diego retreat or our first Jersey retreat, you know, I was zipping around doing so much more, and you know, my brain was like really sharp and everything, and it's just not the same playing field anymore, right? What am I going to do? Take that on myself, feel like crap about it, and then tomorrow hope that I wake up and it's different? My day is going to be as demanding as it's going to be. But if I sandwich that demanding day between some intentions and I say to myself, okay, well, tomorrow I'm not going to harp on myself for this stuff. I'm going to be comfortable within my mental means, you know, because it's still enough. Sometimes just having that focus really does change the day. You know, it's like it's kind of cheesy, but it's like if you're going into a game that you already think you're going to lose, how well are you going to play that game? Nobody would give it their all, right? So if you wake up in the morning and you think, you know, you feel anxious in the morning and you're like, oh, today's a wash. Well, today's a wash. So, and then lastly, in this particular part, this goes back to the lesson I did on our verbiage, our self verbiage, right? But when you're trying to think about something you want, we tend to have this habit where we focus on talking about what we don't want instead of what we do want. For example, you want the weather to be nice tomorrow. How many times you're gonna, you know, would you rather say, or more commonly say, I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow, instead of being like, I hope it's sunny tomorrow. So little things like that, like being able to prime yourself for the next day and think about like, here's the tone I'm going to set for the next day. I swear, it sounds like such a simple thing, but it really makes a big difference. And then in the morning when you wake up, having that little powwow with yourself and thinking about what you do want for the day, right? Like I said, I'm going to be more patient with myself. I didn't say I'm not going to harp on myself. I said I'm going to be more patient with myself. It's such a subtle distinction, but it really just sets a different tone. Thoughts so far? Tell me in the chat. Anything standing out to you guys? Any questions? You think it's a bunch of malarkey? Tell me honestly. I never thought to reframe it that way. Yeah, like it's like unintentional pessimism, right? You know, and like I'm Greek. I come from the biggest cynics around. You know, but like it's unintentionally pessimistic to be like, here's what I don't want. Here's what I'm gonna, oh, I'm always gonna focus on what to avoid. It's very much like a hopefully I wake up tomorrow and it's not like this, you know, versus but like, hey, we're participating here. We have a say. We are dynamic human beings. You know, we can have a day and take what we need from it and try to make it better the next day. We can put our effort in that way. So, okay, that's the mindset side of things. Now, the other side of things, you know, there's two ways to get these to bookend your days, right, for success. Your mornings and your nights, how to set them up for success. The mentality setting, like we just talked about, and then organizing the best actions. Some might like to call it prep. I don't like to call it prep because some days this brain and this body don't want to prep anything. And rather than it feeling like something I can't even think about, I like to think about it as I'm going to organize the best actions for what I need for tomorrow, what I need for today, if it's in the morning. You know, that's going to change from day to day. You know, we're ever evolving. We're not the same people every single day. We don't have the same level of energy or motivation or clarity. You know, illness aside, just the average person isn't the same every single day, even though we all would love that to be the case. So you want to organize the best actions for what you need, right? And for us, especially with these hormonal bodies of ours, it's going to be foundational stuff. It's going to be sleeping, eating, not stressing as much. And like I said, next week we're going to talk about eat the frog, which is going to help us organizing the in between, the day part. But we want to think about like what is going to help set my foundation for eating, what's going to set my foundation for sleeping, what's going to set my foundation for having less stress. Those are always the three we're thinking of. And you want to have a routine that helps address those things at night and in the morning. Following me so far? So, what do you need to do? Oh my God, what did I write in this friggin' list? Just like a stream of consciousness in my notes. So, first thing is to think about baby steps, right? And if you guys, those of you listening in the recording, those of you who are tuning in live now, everybody's at a different point with their baby steps. But a lot of times we just kind of wake up and think like, okay, how do I put this into work? But you want to think about, and it doesn't mean you have to prep for it. Mentally, just think about it and be like, okay, kind of like a focus, right? Like a physical focus. We talked about the mental focus before of setting your intentions, but what do you need? Hold on. Struggle bus today. I swear to God. Anyway, if I choke on my spit one more time during this recording, um, but what do you need for your baby steps? Ideally, do you feel like your baby steps? You're at a point where you're like, I don't even know. Pick one. Pick one. Set yourself up for it at night and in the morning. If your baby step is don't have coffee for 2 hours when you wake up in the morning, get your decaf set up for the morning. If your baby step is front load your carbs, right? So you're going to eat more carbs. And again, don't feel like you have to do all these. Listen to what your coach and what I have set forth. I'm just using these as examples. But let's say your baby step is to front load carbs, right? So figure out, what am I going to grab in the morning? Get yourself set up that way. You know, if it's to include more physical activity, and we've discussed an activity you're going to try, well, what time tomorrow can you block out in your schedule? Just start to think about like how you are going to incorporate it the next day. Because even just thinking about it the night prior is going to feel like you're actually putting effort. It's not going to be like you're just running through your day and you're hoping for this time slot to fall from the sky and make it easier. That's going to cause you stress. It's going to make it less consistent. So think about that the night prior. What do you need for tomorrow? So that's your baby steps, right? Then sleep. Like I said, here's my biggest tip. And this is one I go in depth on the morning and night routine video where I talk more about what to do exactly. But have a quitting time at night, a mandatory quitting time. If you're somebody that can easily, and we're all, I feel like, guilty of it at different times, but if you're someone that like your bedtimes vary greatly and you need that mental time to kind of like, whether it's scrolling, which isn't inherently bad, watching TV, whatever it is, falling asleep on the couch on and off, whatever, have a certain quitting time, a realistic quitting time. If you know yourself and you're not going to go to bed until like 2, don't make your quitting time 10 p.m. because it sounds really nice and you just feel like you want to be one of those healthy people that goes to bed early. Figure out what's realistic for you and be like, okay, every night, this is my quitting time. For us, we did midnight for a while. And what that meant was when it's quitting time, turn off the TV, get everything set, get ready for bed. Have your mandatory quitting time. It just makes such a difference. I don't want to get too much into the steps because, like I said, I mentioned it in the whole video, but showers at night on a sensory level, put your hair up so you don't have to deal with that. But just like the feeling of rinsing your skin at night and you know, engaging all those nerve endings after you've been on edge, white knuckling it all day, is a huge thing. But like have that time at night where you can say, after quitting time, here's how I get ready for bed. Don't have it be time based, like after your quitting time. Have it be action based. After quitting time, here's what I do to get ready for bed. you'll see a difference in your sleep, I promise. And like I said, again, that video goes far more in depth on like actual sleep and stuff like that. I think that's also in the adrenal videos I did not too long ago. Um, so I literally don't even know what I wrote in these notes. Crazy, but tis my brain these days. But yeah, I think next week we'll talk about Eat the Frog. We'll start chunking out your day, managing your day. But I want you to take from this video the idea that your mornings and your nights are connected. We're going to work on the physical symptom side of things. That's what we're doing here. I don't expect people to hear this and be like, oh my God, I have the most amazing morning and nighttime routine and I feel so great now. Like, we're still dealing with you feeling like crap. So I don't, take all of this with a grain of salt. But a lot of it has to do with what's up here. And if mentally you're setting your intentions for the next day, you reconfirm it in the morning, you're thinking about what it is that you need to get yourself set up action-wise for the next day, you are going to be at a much higher rate of success that way, just because it's what you're putting your energy into, rather than just trying to get through the day and hopefully whatever seems favorable is what happens. So, a short one today, but I hope this gets you thinking. And this is fodder for our own one-on-one conversations after this. Everybody's going to have a different set of goals to get towards this, to get towards routines, right? You're going to have different schedules with kids, with work, with partners, with all the different dynamic aspects of our life, right? This is something that has to be individual to you. But I want you to try and take these concepts and tomorrow give it a go. See if it changes how you get through your day or your level of motivation or your clarity or whatever you notice. And then please definitely share with me, share with your coach, and we can get it customized and really honed in on. All right, so I hope everyone has a fabulous night. Don't forget, we start our summer challenge on the 20th. I posted the group link for the WhatsApp group on the page as well as in the chat. So definitely make sure you get in on that. If you have any questions at all, let me know. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your night.